last night, 119-90. Portland outscored the Magic by 12 points in the paint and had 21 more points off turnovers. Magic's head coach Jamal Mosley talked about not playing Magic basketball against Portland.
We are an aggressive basketball team. We are a defensive team. We are a sharing the ball together team. Tonight we did not show that. And that's one thing. We'll watch the film, we'll look at it and understand the areas where we can improve. But that was not Orlando Magic basketball, and that we came out as a soft basketball team, and that's not us.
The Magic travel to Utah to play the Jazz in Game 2 of their road trip tomorrow at 3. Here in Jacksonville, the Collegiate Basketball River City Rumble takes place at the Swisher Gymnasium between the JU Dolphins and the UNF Ospreys. Tip-off is set for Saturday at 6 p.m. Hear the game live on 10:10 a.m. It's 76 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dawes.
Hey!
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL. Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Well, it seems like it was a busy night for Liam Coen because he met with the fans last night at Everbank Stadium and then just a few hours later went ahead and decided on a defensive coordinator hire in Anthony Campanile. So welcome to Jacksonville, Anthony. And based off of everything we've researched and everything we will learn today and talking to other people who certainly know a lot more about him, he is going to bring the fire and brimstone, as they say here in the South, to the defensive room.
Oh, nice use of words there, Lauren, because now you got not one but two Yankees coming to the South. How does this make you feel? I have to ask. You got the new Pride of New Jersey and Anthony Campanile. We got the New England crew with Liam Coen and company coming to town.
Yeah, so if you're born in Rhode Island, is that Yankee?
New England, which is, I mean, I assume.
Because I always thought Yankee is more like New York, New Jersey, and I really don't know. That's just what I've always thought.
I'm asking for your assessment. I don't know the definition of it. I define a Yankee as someone who roots for the New York Yankees, but there are those who refer to anyone above the Mason-Dixon line as a Yankee.
Yeah, I think I put Yankee on, not necessarily the Yankees fans. I put it on more of like people who, it's not necessarily exactly where you're from, although yes, it tends to be more Northeast. But I would say it's more if you come to the South and you think that we're dumb or our way of life is too slow and you want to try and bring your fast-paced way of life down here. That's how I would describe it. Like, so, if you want to be in the South, then you got to adapt to our ways.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So how does this make you feel? The juice is on its way.
I will tell you by a quick Google, it said in the Yankee will refer to the inhabitants of the 6 New England states of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. So they're all Yankees.
Yeah, they're lumping it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with it.
But give me that. Give me the fiery. Give me the juice. Give me all of that, because it's something we've talked about being lacking here when it comes to that extra energy and we talk about the predictableness of what everything was this last season. And when you have people who have that little bit of an edge, I feel like that is some of the traits that start to alter that world. And because it starts in the locker room, it starts in these meetings, it starts there and then carries out onto the football field. You can't just have these, and I don't know, I wasn't in all of the meetings, but you can't have these just kind of calm, no energy meetings and then expect on the football field to everyone all of a sudden to just turn it on. You want that to be able to be kind of living and breathing in everything you do. And it does feel like the people they are bringing here have that sort of edge, that sort of energy.
But energy, it has to also be where there's connections and everyone understands what everyone else is supposed to do. Because you can have energy, and if you're spouting the wrong things, then the defense runs out, and there's miscommunications, and they throw their hands up, and we've seen that here too. So I do think there can't be that disconnect, and I think energy, while very important, and I think Liam Coen, that's like the first word I would use to describe him, is energetic for sure. But he's also a brilliant offensive mind. And so that's what I want to learn more about Anthony Campanile and how brilliant of a defensive mind is he. It seems like everywhere he's been, the defense has improved under him, and he hasn't had a losing season in the NFL as an assistant head coach. So that's a good sign.
I think that one thing that I want to differentiate, I saw a lot of feedback from Jaguar fans online about, well, Ryan Nielsen was supposed to bring the juice. He was supposed to be fiery and in your face and rah-rah. And reportedly, at least I know from one report from the Florida Times-Union, that really did not gel with the players in that locker room. And so this idea of why would it work this time, I would suggest for the same reasons that, at least from what we were told, Ryan Nielsen did gel with the Atlanta Falcons in that situation. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. You can go down the line to whether it's, offenses, offensive line, defensive. Sometimes it just doesn't work in certain situations. And that's where I look at the Ryan Nielsen situation and I say it's different than Anthony Campanile, even though both are fiery guys. I think that it comes down to, number one, are you willing to, and don't take this the wrong way, people, are you willing to pull the trigger? Because we were told, for months that Ryan Nielsen in practice, as part of the offseason program, the install, these exotic coverages, blitzes, and then when push came to shove on the football field on Sundays, that was not what the play call was. That, for me, is ultimately what will define if Liam is actually bringing a savage's mentality to the defensive side of the ball. It will be if on Sundays, are you willing to take the risk to play cover zero, to send a 5-6 man front up front and get after the quarterback, as opposed to once again defaulting to, well, we gotta play zone and we gotta, keep it vanilla, keep everything in front of us, as opposed to gambling like 3 of the 5 reported interviewees. And we know there were 4 that were completed, so at least the 5 requests. Again, the 5th one was Jonathan Cooley that was requested, according to Jeremy Fowler. But point being, 3 of the 5 come from the Brian Flores tree. And that says to me that Liam Cohen is making it his intention to go out and get someone who is going to run a defense that will gamble, that will try to bring extra pressure and get after a quarterback while also protecting the back end as well.
And Cohen wants to find people where he knows a little bit about their past. And so obviously Campanile just worked with LaFleur. Who's LaFleur worked with? Sean McVay. And so there's all those connections that you make too. As long as there's no hockey shift rotation going into this season and they trust Foye to be in the right spot and they trust Eric Armstead to be in the right spot, then that's certainly an improvement. But I do think that this offense and this defense last year were a step behind. Pretty much at all times. The offense with the entire playbook was a step behind. And the defense, as soon as the other offense took the field, they were a step behind because they weren't prepared for what was going to happen. And that's why you saw team after team, week after week, have those long drives, whether it was the first drive or early in the game. They had those long drives because the defense wasn't prepared. That's supposed to be one of your first or your best drives. Is supposed to be that first time when you get to see the offense, even though it's scripted. So I will find the style of defense fascinating. And I think Liam Cohen's smart enough football-wise and organized enough to trust Anthony Campanile to run the defense. And that, to me, is a huge component of this because we want him to pour his resources into Trevor Lawrence and the offense.
Yeah, and I will say I think there's a difference in even what we talked about with Ryan Nielsen, because I think that when the Jags signed Ryan Nielsen, there was this mentality of, that attack style was what we talked about a lot, type of defense he had in Atlanta. But I don't think anybody was scared of Atlanta's defense the year before. When you started looking at things and how he kind of transformed the defense, you were impressed. You were impressed with some of the statistical numbers. But I don't know if anybody during the year was like, oh, that Atlanta defense is fierce. You're scared to go up against them. Green Bay has had that mentality. And this last year, they were one of the better run defenses in the league. And it's the best they've been in a long time. And obviously that was his focus when he was in Green Bay. So those guys are ones that you'll see run their mouth. You'll see them sometimes little extra shoves and stuff like that because they are. And this goes beyond obviously just Anthony Campanile, but just in general, that's the mentality of a Green Bay defense. And so I do think that having the history of, now I know it's just one season in Green Bay, but the competitiveness and just that extra everything that Green Bay has brought into their coaching staff, because you see a lot of people that go and they start as assistant coaches there, whatever level it's on, and move on and are successful because that organization is just so well ran. And we talk about it a lot, how they don't have an owner and how much that factors into things and these hirings and what they can do that other teams can't because they don't have one guy making every decision and trying to put his paws onto everything. And so I do think that type of mentality, bringing just the winning, and I know we said this with players last year, oh, you're bringing in Eric Armstead and Savage and these guys that have won, but bringing a coach that has won and has now been successful, to your point, Lauren, not having a losing season, and behind someone like Brian Flores, who has his criticisms because obviously the way things went in Miami, maybe people didn't love and it didn't end well. But that was a defense that people talked about being scary. Minnesota's defense is something that people talk about being scary under Brian Flores. And those are people that now he's learned from and started establishing his coaching mentality.
And I'll throw one more at you. Anthony Campanile was also a part of the Miami Dolphins defense under Vic Fangio in 2023, which I know ultimately Vic made the decision to part ways. He wanted to go back to Philadelphia. He wanted to bring Anthony Campanile with him. I said this yesterday on the program. The only reason he ended up with the Packers and had that defensive run game coordinator title was because the Packers had to give him some sort of title and a pay bump. Otherwise, they'd be outbid for his services by the Philadelphia Eagles, which last I checked, that's a pretty winning organization as well. And Vic Fangio has that defense in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So,
and one you would say is scary to go against.
Correct. Yeah. And so that's where I say if enough of these brightest minds in football believe that this guy has next, that's a good talent evaluation by Liam Cohen and good networking to say, all right, if Vic Fangio thinks this guy is up and coming and indispensable, if Brian Flores thinks this guy is indispensable, if Jeff Hafley thinks this guy is indispensable, I should probably bring him aboard.
The Packers had 31 takeaways last season. The Jaguars had 9.
I thought it was 5 interceptions.
Yeah,
right? It was something like
total
that.
takeaways.
Yeah, that's not
I only
good.
held up one hand. If I had 2, I could fit it on 2 hands. For those of you watching on the MyBookie Digital Studio.
And again, that's not all Campanile. He's not the one who was the defensive coordinator. It was Jeff Hafley, who, of course, left Boston College to go work for the Packers. But that is a mentality. It's a mindset. And the Jaguars did not have that success last season. And I do think that because of the feisty nature of Anthony Campanile, at least from what we've seen, again, through Hard Knocks and other different videos, that is something where a guy that maybe like Jarian Jones, that he's only had the one season here, it didn't go well, you start to maybe believe in the philosophy a little bit more because someone's not afraid to get in your face. And I feel like for Jarian at Florida State, like Mike Norvell and his staff, they will get in your face. And so I do think sometimes you can be held less accountable when someone, and I'm not saying you have to scream at people, adults, but in football, sometimes it does take the person who's willing to get in your face because this team needed more of that last year.
Well, but I would argue, at least, again, reporting for the Times-Union, a little bit of what I heard as well, maybe not in your face, but there was an old school yelling approach last year that maybe didn't vibe and match the energy of the personnel on the field. I think that you can be a hard nose, but if you are a hard nose because you've proven that you love your players and you will die for them, that's where I think you can be as hard ass as you want. And I think that, and I was going to have RJ play it, but it wouldn't sound really great for radio, so I'll just paraphrase it and you guys can find it online. I tweeted it out already. There's also a clip from Hard Knocks of Tua Tagovailoa sheepishly coming into the linebacker room and saying to Anthony Campanile, we need a handshake, because he wanted to do the Tommy Cutlets with the hands. That is all I need to know in terms of players who aren't even under his jurisdiction saying, I want to have a relationship with you. I want to feel that energy. And that's from both sides of the ball. That says to me that he's the same guy who then later in that same Hard Knocks series, he's yelling and ranting and hollering about this, that, and the other cuss word, but it's the same guy.
Yeah.
And so that's where I say this is a guy who, if you prove you love your players and you will do anything for them, that's when the hooting and the hollering, it's not just lip service.
It depends on when you do it too, right? Like if a player messes up, there may be a time when you need to coach them hard. If you think they're loafing, there may be a time that you need to coach them hard. If they're not doing what you told them to do, like there's different ways to go about it. Screaming in a meeting room maybe isn't the way, and that's what the kind of I took from that report about Nielsen.
Yeah, I mean, and I think different players also take different ways. So you have to have a coach that knows when you're in a locker room with this many guys, some people will take to the screaming and yelling and some people won't as well. And so to be able to adjust that is important too. So we will see how that kind of factors in. But to the point of kind of his rounds that he has been and people he's coached around, it does seem like they are strong personalities, but it's also coaches that have had locker rooms in very good positions when it comes to winning games and being, I think we talk about that accountability word, but the last 2 seasons here, the 2024 season and 2023, we've talked about this defense and the defensive coaching 2 years ago, we're finding out in December that they're not even teaching them certain things and the certain aspects of the defense. The
Late to
defenses,
practice.
yeah, late, like getting neglected certain areas. And then this year, it just felt like, yeah, maybe we weren't hearing those exact reports, but we were seeing people in the wrong spots on the field. We were seeing people miss tackles, and those are things that directly correlate to coaching. So there was clearly a lack of communication between the coaching staff and the players when it comes to these last 2 years. So to me, I just want somebody who I know can come in here and form these relationships with guys where they want to listen, they want to learn, they want to get better. And then on the other side, a coach that also can take accountability. And when you see someone miss a tackle or you see someone in the wrong spot, don't sit on the podium and be like, I think we played hard. No, you didn't. Like, you look terrible. And let's I could have tackled better than that. And so you need a coach to be able to do that. And I do, from the things that I have heard, this is one of those guys. So yes, fiery at times, but will also say, look, like, you miss a tackle, whatever the mistake may be on the field, he'll be maybe getting on to you on the sideline. But I do think that's what players need, because rather than coming and sitting on the bench after you make a play and no one correcting anything.
And it all starts at the top, right?
Yep.
The leadership is set with Liam Cohen. His energy, his attention to detail, that's going to be the foundation of everything. And then every position coach, every coordinator is going to, the three coordinators, I should say, they're going to pull off of him. And so if he's also not afraid to get in the faces of the defensive players, special teams if need be, if he sees Logan Cook and Ross Matisic just hanging out at the Pro Bowl games, like, get after them. When we come back, yesterday's Terminex Pest of the Day was for Taylor. Today's will be for Mia.
Oh, yeah.
You are listening to Helmets and Heels. It's a Feel Good Friday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This is Daniel Murphy on my hometown station here in Jacksonville, 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Is your dog Team Rough or Team Fluff? It's officially Puppy Bowl season at Dogtopia Jacksonville Beach Boulevard. They're getting MVPs, most valuable pups, ready for the big game. Your dog deserves a tail-wagging day of fun, and Dogtopia's indoor playrooms are the perfect training ground for their game day moment. Get your dog in on all the action by visiting Dogtopia Jacksonville Beach Boulevard and St. John's Bluff. New to the pack? Enjoy a free day of daycare. Mention Puppy Bowl when booking to claim the offer.
Mia here. New Year's resolutions are upon us, but let's be honest. By February, that gym membership will just be a $50 per month guilt trip. Why not take that cash and finally fix that leaky faucet, unclog that drain, or tune up that AC? Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning has your back. Visit duckduckrooter.com or call today at 904-862-6769. Start the year off fresh. No leaks, no clogs, no excuses. Duck Duck Rooter, 904-862-6769.
Yo, E.T. here, and beat the winter blues with fun activities in Clay County. Some of my personal favorites are a hands-on aquaponics class at Reparation Earth, or diving into the action at Nakima Anime Bar, where you can join weekly gaming and cosplay tournaments. Clay County always has something going on. Plan your next date at exploreclay.com and share the fun at #ExploreClay.
It all begins with Speed Weeks, presented by Advent Health, February 12th through 16th. The Daytona 500 is sold out, but you can still win a 4-pack of tickets to all the other Speed Weeks races. What anniversary of the Great American Race does 2025 mark? Text the anniversary number to 641-1010. What anniversary of the Great American Race does 2025 mark? Text the answer to 641-1010 for a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Speed Weeks races.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
I'm Max Fink on your Gator station. 1010XL is your pipeline to Gator Nation. Listen to the Gator Report all year round.
Freshened up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators. 1010XL.
Go, Gators! Mia here for MyBookie. It's finally here. A game so big we're not even supposed to say the name, where the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Philadelphia Eagles at the Caesars Superdome. This isn't just the biggest game of the year, it's the ultimate betting event. If you are not on MyBookie, you are missing out on the action. Big game betting with MyBookie goes beyond just picking the winner. We've got all the wild props for this epic showdown. Will it be heads or tails for the coin toss? What color will the Gatorade for the drenching of the winning coach be? Even the length of the national anthem are up for bets at MyBookie. They love giving you options to bet on everything. Make it easy to win and even easier to get paid with MyBookie, whether you deposit with crypto or credit. Bonuses await. And our new loyalty program gives you cash back just for playing. Bet on big game boosted parlays, live betting, and jackpots that can turn small bets into big wins. Why just watch when you can own the big game? Sign up with MyBookie now using promo code 1010XL and get your 50% sign-up bonus to kick things off. Bet anything, anytime, from anywhere with MyBookie.
Pizza to Tea here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find the scratch kitchen that comes through in the clutch every day, from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Come on, somebody.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about HardballCreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Fernandina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Fernandina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to Pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com, Mocama Beer Company. Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
Find the middle of the fairway with your drives. Get the golf tips and talk to keep you straight.
That's a great tee shot.
On the Edwin Watts Golf Hour. The Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Saturday morning at 10 on 1010XL. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Feel Good Friday. It is time for our Terminex Pest of the Day before we get to our next subject, and that would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who I've determined they are good at blocking. Da-doonch. That would be run blocking, pass blocking, and also blocking the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you have any issues with termites, you certainly want to call Terminex. If you have any issues with pests, of course you want to call Terminex as well, or find them online at Terminex.com, Terminix. Molly was saying how she has some ant issues. Let her know. Terminex took care of those issues for us. They'll do the same for you, and that's why they take care of Everbank Stadium, who housed, of course, all those Jags fans last night. Daly's Place, which I know currently, Daly's Place Flex Field is hosting the Donna Marathon Expo for everybody heading down there to get their race packets, and you will not see any pests or termites thanks to Terminex. So earlier this week, as we know, Liam Cohen requested to interview one of his former offensive line coaches in Kevin Carberry, and the Bucs said nope. And then this morning, we come to find out that he was also trying to interview another offensive line coach, the assistant offensive line coach, who I'll let Mia tell you more about him in a second, Brian Pacucci, and the Bucs, of course, shot that down as well. Now, for people saying that I thought they couldn't if it's a promotion, that only applies, the rule only applies if they are moving to a coordinator position, then the NFL cannot let a team block that. But if it's just moving, say, from assistant offensive line to offensive line coach, then a team can block that interview, the request for that interview. So the Bucs, of course, and Jason Light, the general manager, are running with this because they're still very sad and mad.
Yeah, Jason, you're a pest. I'm going to say it out loud. I hope you come up to me at the Combine. I'd love to have a conversation, a drink or two, because quite frankly...
I don't think you'll be having a drink with anyone from Jacksonville.
Yeah, right. No, and that's the thing. Look, I'm okay, and I understand and respect the NFL's policy, Lauren. And I respect the idea of you don't want to let good coaches leave the building. I'm even okay with the Kevin Carberry block because he is a good offensive line coach who technically, was employed by Sean McVay once upon a time. He was with the Saints. There was overlap, so Liam recruited him to come in and be the offensive line coach. After, mind you, Dave Canales was allowed to take not only 2 coaches on expiring contracts, but 3 other coaches along with him to Carolina.
But he must have been upfront and honest.
Yes, yeah. I guess so. Or because it was the first OC to walk out the door willingly since Byron Leftwich had been fired the year prior. Maybe that's why. Point is, the Carberry thing I'm fine with. I'm not entirely fine with it because I feel bad because I know he and Liam Cohen have some great synergy. He's someone who, by all accounts, would have been excited to come here to Jacksonville. Maybe there's still a possibility of that working out. The Bukowski part pisses me off, and I don't even like using the P word on the air, but it's just frustrating, right?
What, the Bukowski or the... I know,
right,
I'm kidding.
Okay, well said. Taylor's on a roll this week. My God, all the puns and all the... keeping you on your toes, y'all. So, Bukowski literally was Liam's coach at UMass. He was his coach at UMass. He's coached a variety of different positions, not just as the assistant offensive line coach. He's been an OC. He's been a tight ends coach. He's been quality control, et cetera, et cetera. He follows him to Maine, 2016 to 2017. He follows him to Kentucky in 2021. And then he hires him with the Bucs. This guy had never had a job in the NFL until Liam Cohen recruited him from the college ranks because he's basically Liam's football uncle. And we're going to block him? What intel, what secrets is he holding that the Bucs say, no, we're going to hold this man hostage? This man literally wasn't in the National Football League until last year because Liam Cohen brought him in.
It does feel like the rules should be amended a little bit that if it's a position of improvement, if your new job is an improvement, is a promotion, then a team shouldn't be able to block you, from making more money. And that's what we're talking about here is an assistant offensive line coach then going to be the offensive line coach potentially. That shouldn't be something that a team can block an interview. If the team then wants to go back and promote them or pay them more, then that's up to them.
By the way, I did misspeak. Brian Bukowski did spend 2 years with the Detroit Lions under Matt Patricia. So I lied. There was 2 other years in the NFL. What secrets from Matt Patricia from 2018 to 2019 you're trying to safekeep? I don't know.
Yeah, I will say because I am a petty person. And so I get it. The way that things went down, I get Tampa wanting to gatekeep certain things and be a little bit okay, well, we'll do what we can because you did it this way and it didn't have to be that way. But that's just the type of person I am. And I always do think about it in reverse how I'd feel. If what happened to Tampa happened to the Jags, for example, which we're not really used to losing coordinators to head coaching jobs, so that's not a familiar thing. But if, let's say, there was this offensive coordinator that we absolutely were obsessed with, and he said he was coming back, and then all of a sudden left to this other team, and it went down the way it did, and then the Jags were like, now you can't have our people, we'd be like, heck yeah, hold on to your guys are your guys. So, I get it from both sides.
But they're more like his guys. That's, I think, the issue that she's taking with it, right? He brought them there.
Right. And Carberry, you could say, well, he's a McVay guy.
Yeah.
Right? He's not a Liam guy. This guy is a Liam guy.
Right, yeah.
That's the one that just, this is just petty at this point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I think that there is going to be some of that between Tampa and the Jags now for a while because the way that things happened, and I said it before, he definitely burned those bridges from Tampa to Jacksonville, and unfortunately that's now thrown other people in it. But we're seeing, Dallas with the McCarthy thing. Like, they knew that guy was about to not get a contract in 10 days and said nobody can hire him. So everybody does it around the league. It's not this new thing that Tampa's doing.
It would have been interesting if the Liam to Jacksonville thing had gone differently.
Yeah.
If he had told Jason, hey, I am going to go take that second interview, and I know that voids basically my offensive coordinator pay raise, then, that would have been a gamble that he would have taken. But I think Jason liked the Bucs would have respected that a little bit more. And then you wonder, would they still be blocking these interview requests? They still could have. That's the thing. That's the rules. Even if Liam had done everything the way that Tampa would have wanted him to do, they still could have said, no, you can't have these guys.
Yeah.
Just because they did it the year before, did it differently, doesn't mean they would have done it that way with the
And that's what we don't know because it went down the way that it did. I know, obviously, in Detroit, people were surprised that Dan Campbell was pretty much just like, talk to who you want to talk to, and thought that originally it was like said that he'd let one guy go. Like, okay, Ben, you can take one guy. He's ended up taking multiple guys. So maybe it could have been a situation where they would have been more pleasing to deal with if it didn't go the way it did, but we'll never know that.
I don't want to be there. If they don't want to be there, then go. That would be my thought process.
I'm going to tie a little bit of college basketball just because it's fresh in my mind, and I was listening to it this morning, the CBS Eye on College Basketball podcast. They were talking about something that we've talked about on this program, the video that went viral of Mark Pope, the head basketball coach at Kentucky, when he went up into the stands and he spoke with the fan who was in the wheelchair and spent about 20 minutes with him because he couldn't come down as part of the Kentucky visiting contingent to celebrate a victory on the road.
This falls in the emotional category that you hate.
No, it doesn't at all. Emotional is talking about wives and players that don't affect X's and O's. Going out and supporting the brand and being a part of the name on the front of the jersey, I'm here for that. So Pat Kelsey quote tweeted that. Pat Kelsey is the head coach at Louisville. That is Kentucky's rival. Yeah. And what Gary Parrish was just saying on the podcast is that it takes a lot of self-security and being so secure with yourself of who you are as a coach, because Louisville fans were trolling him and saying,
for sure.
That's our enemy. That's our rival. How could you do that? And Pat Kelsey said it's the right, he's going about it the right way, and I respect him. And yeah, they beat us on the hardwood earlier this year, but I don't care because I'm secure in myself enough that I can call it like I see it. And that is what I take away from this. Like, how insecure do you have to be that you're going to play this game right now? Because, again, this is an assistant offensive line coach. Yes, who has coached in other capacities, a quality control coach at Kentucky, was the assistant tight ends coach for Matt Patricia, the OC at the NFL Alumni Academy. It's not like he's trying to take some, massive, future star and future head coach. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense to me.
You also maybe don't want to have to deal with that right now, to be honest, and you're already having to find an offensive coordinator suddenly when you didn't think you'd have to, because it was halfway through January when this happened. I mean, we talked about it here, they didn't want to do a GM search and a head coaching search at the same time because it was a lot. Maybe he just doesn't want to deal with it. And he's like, I have coaches that I like here, so why would I have to put the extra work on me if I can just say no?
Right. It'll be interesting to see who the Bucs OC is.
Right, yeah. and that's the point that a couple of the Heeligans on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures are making. They're making the point of, well, if a new OC comes in and says, well, I
want somebody else.
I want somebody else, so I'm just going to reassign you and make you just like an assistant now, like a general assistant. At that point, could the person resign? I don't know. Yeah, I do not know the answer to that question.
Depends on obviously what the contract language specifies, how long they're under contract and things like that. All right, let's check in with someone who does know Anthony Campanile better than us. Peter Bukowski on the other side, co-founder of The Leap and host of Locked on Packers. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
1010XL's Dan Hicken dominated Folio Weekly's Best of 2024. Best TV sports anchor, Dan Hicken. Best radio sports anchor, Dan Hicken. Best radio sports show starring Dan Hicken. 1010XL, the home of Dan Hicken.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
It's the time of the year to cash in. Joe C for Hard Rock Bet, and the amount of sports going on right now is perfect for building parlays. Bet on football, basketball, hockey, you name it. Check it all out on the Hard Rock Bet app. The Discover page is a great place to start to see what others are betting on. Don't miss out on the big game. Hard Rock Bet is rolling out over $5.9 million in bonus bets. Download the app now. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
D1 Training East Jacksonville invites you to their mega NFL football camp at the Bowl School, February 1st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., ages 7 through 16. Get hands-on coaching from former NFL players at every single station. The coaches lineup put together by Connor and Sam at D1 is proudly sponsored by Tim Tebow. To sign up, call 904-901-6470.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Mia here. You want to know what's better than a sale? A sale on top of a sale, right? And that's exactly what's going on now at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned during their Everything's on Sale sale. Just how on sale is it? How about $0 down and just $288 per month for a pre-owned 2022 Toyota Corolla? Or you choose a pre-owned 2021 Camry, RAV4 Tacoma for $0 down and only $388 per month. But that's not all. I mean, guys, this is a sale on top of a sale where everything is on sale. That's why my friends at Arlington are offering no payments till July 2025. Yep, you heard that right. July 2025, no payments. Plus, Arlington's lot is packed with over 600 vehicles, and you get 60 days to love your purchase or exchange it. It's official. It's a sale on top of a sale during the Everything's on Sale sale at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. That's some kind of sale. Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On January 31st, 2009, at the Australian Open, sensational tennis player Serena Williams wins her 10th Grand Slam singles title.
Homeowners, listen up. It's time to start fresh in 2025. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto is here to help take control of your finances in 2025 by lowering your house payments and consolidating that nagging debt. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Right now, Loan Pronto has some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s APR. If your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Even if you're in process with another lender, call Loan Pronto now. Lock in at a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call now, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS, consumeraccess.org.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast Orthopedic Specialists for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast Orthopedic Specialists take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Start your new year off healthy. Get screened at Ackerman Urology for common cancers of the prostate, bladder, and kidney. Early detection is key with 5 locations across Northeast Florida. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminex. When mice and rats show up in your home or business, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast, before they have time to multiply. Terminex knows how to shut down rodents and will keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so does Terminex. don't live with a rodent problem, Terminex does. Visit Terminex.com today to schedule a free inspection online just like I did. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
It's going to stop you from doing what you want to do. Everybody understands ass whooping, okay? I can go to Greece and somebody start getting their ass whooped. We all understand what's happening. Okay, we're all speaking the same language, right? We might not be able to communicate, but if somebody getting their ass kicked, nothing's lost in translation.
Give me that energy. Well, actually, no, because I'd probably cry, but the football team needs that energy. We are joined now by Peter Bukowski. He is the co-founder of The Leap and host of Locked On Packers. Friend of mine. Yes, I can be friends with Packers fans. It's possible. Peter, thank you for joining us.
I'm happy to be here, and I just want to reiterate what the new defensive coordinator for the Jaguars said. Everywhere around the world, they speak ass whooping. That's a direct quote from Anthony Campanile, and it's one of my favorite things I've ever heard anyone say.
It's a universal love language, Peter. Come on, everybody knows this.
Look, you don't have to tell me. I got to see it firsthand in Green Bay for a year. That energy. I mean, I had Evan Williams on Locked On Packers a couple times, a rookie safety from Oregon. He played great for Green Bay, and they talked about wanting to be the most physical team every week, wanting to be the biggest disguise team every week. And like you watch the Packers linebackers, they play with force. They will come up and hit you in the face. And that is something, I mean, probably not as up to date on what the Packers have done over the last couple of years, your audience. But look, they've been a soft team for too long, and that changed in 2024. And I think that it's hard to watch a clip like that from Anthony Campanile and not go, yeah, that guy contributed to this group being tougher, more physical, and playing with a little bit more of an edge.
Peter, that's exactly what I was saying in that first segment, because we were talking about how that was a lot of people kind of hyped up Brian Nielsen last year when the Jaguars hired him and was saying that he was going to kind of bring that sort of energy and that attack style defense and all of these things were the wordings they were using. Obviously, that didn't transfer out onto the field here, but I said the exact same thing you did. This was a Packers defense that you were scared to play and scared to face this last season, and they had that kind of they'll hit you in the mouth a little bit. And so let's go into that, because I do think him being the linebackers coach and the defensive run game coordinator for Green Bay last year, that linebacker room was one that really impressed around the league, and I think they were obviously in the top when it came to their run defense in general. But guys like Quay Walker, who I know some people have some mixed feelings on, but the rookie Edgar Cooper was somebody by now we're talking about is a very, very good player and will be in the league for a while. So talk a little bit about what he did with that linebacker room, especially the rookie.
Yeah, and Quay Walker, you know, I'm sure you got plenty of Georgia fans in your audience. He was a disappointment for 2.5 years in Green Bay. Did not play up to his physical tools. I took a lot of heat among Packer fans for saying I didn't like that draft pick, and that he was, you look at the Pro Football Focus charting, one of the worst starters in the NFL at any position over the first 2 years. I mean, like bottom 5, bottom 8 grades those first 2 seasons. And then a light went on in the middle of the year, and all of a sudden he was playing like a Pro Bowl caliber linebacker. And I can't explain what it was, but he just looked different. And around the same time, the same thing happened for Edgerrin Cooper. Edgerrin Cooper got hurt in training camp. That scuttled his development. Early in the season, I'm screaming on my show, this guy's got to play. He was not getting on the field. And I'm like, Isaiah McDuffie and Eric Wilson, these guys are nice players, but they cannot be playing over Edgerrin Cooper. And it changed in the middle of the year. And in fact, it was that Jacksonville Jaguars game. Go back and watch Edgerrin Cooper in that Jaguars game. The sack fumble that he created on Trevor Lawrence. And then he had a play where he is mugging the A gap. He's showing he's going to blitz. And he has to haul ass to the middle of the field and be the middle field runner in cover 2. And he gets the pass breakup on Christian Kirk that unfortunately breaks Christian Kirk's collarbone. But it's an incredible play. I had a lead source tell me there may not be another linebacker in the league who could have made that play. But they had to totally revamp the way that these linebackers were playing on the fly. They wanted to play just sort of a pretty basic Gus Bradley cover 3. And they had to change to this more attacking style, this simulated pressure world. And that doesn't work if your linebackers are not getting coached up. Anthony Campanile was a huge part of that. And let me just throw this stat at you guys. Edgerrin Cooper had 13 tackles for loss this year as a rookie. 13. Jared Verse won the Defensive Rookie of the Year. He did not have as many tackles for loss as Edgerrin Cooper. In this century, 22 players have 13 tackles for loss as rookies. All of them went on to be Pro Bowl players. All of them. So that's the improvement that we saw start to finish from this room. There's a reason that Penn State wanted to give him their defensive coordinator job and that Robert Saleh was plan A in San Francisco. Anthony Campanile was plan B. This was the most coveted defensive coordinator of the cycle.
Hell of a stat. Hell of a mic drop right there, Peter. And you just joined us here on Helmets and Heels, and we're so happy to have you on this Feel Good Friday because you're making us feel good to hear that the new Jaguars defensive coordinator is exactly what the doctor ordered. For our audience, can you please, because I've discussed this with the girls. I'm from New Jersey, so I know, obviously, the background with Don Bosco and his long lineage of his father, his uncle. How do you pronounce the new Jaguars defense coordinator's last name? Because I know his brother being Nunzio at Syracuse has gotten a lot of play because he's been the interim there like 12 times.
I heard it when you said long because I'm in Westchester, so I hear these accents all the time. Campanile.
So that is how your understanding is that's how it's pronounced.
That is my understanding of how it's pronounced. Yeah, and something I wanted to, you mentioned the history. One of my favorite things to look at with coaches, assistant coaches especially, is do they survive regime change? You go back and you look at Miami with Brian Flores. Brian Flores brought Anthony Campanile in to play the Brian Flores chaos defense. And when they changed over to Mike McDaniel, they stuck with Anthony Campanile. And then they played the Vic Fangio style defense. Well, you can't find two more different styles of defense than those. And yet, he stayed as the linebackers coach. So when you have that sort of resiliency, I think that speaks volumes for a coach to come in and say, okay, you survived this very different style of football. And then the Packers are playing even a different style last year. So I think that speaks to a versatility. Like if you ask me what style of defense he's going to call, I have no idea. But I can tell you that they're going to play fast, that they're going to play free. And one of the things, I mentioned that interview with Evan Williams, one of the things he talked about that Jeff Hafley did such a good job of was making things simple for your guys so that you can just play. It seems complicated, but it only seems complicated. It is what Matt LaFleur likes to call the illusion of complexity, where you have this pre-snap motion, you've got on offense, but on defense it's, hey, we're going to show you a six-man pressure, but it's really just going to be cover three. We're going to back up. But it looks complicated. And so you got to sort that out as an offense. And so I think you're going to see this is what every team is trying to do in the league right now with the simulated pressures, these creeper pressures, and just trying to get and play with protection rules for opposing offenses. This is what you want from a modern defensive coordinator, someone who can give you everything and be able to be adaptable because you might come in with a plan and all of a sudden, like, your guys are just not as good as you thought. This happened in Green Bay. Like, they thought they were going to rush 4 all year. And their four-man rush just didn't show up. And so you have to be able to manufacture something on the fly, which the Packers did, and they end up, a top 10 defense. You mentioned the run game coordinator piece of this. This is the best Packers run defense that I can remember. I mean, top 10 in run defense, that hasn't happened since Mike Daniels and Kenny Clark early on. I mean, I'm talking about 2015, 2016. We probably have to go back. So almost a decade in Green Bay, they haven't had a run defense this good. And it has to be because of guys like Jeff Hafley and Anthony Campanile.
One of the other things that Liam said, Peter, in his opening press conference is players over plays. And as I'm hearing you describe the play of the linebackers, even though there's a lot of them, as far as quantity, I don't know that the Jaguars necessarily have the quality that are going to be needed to play in this type of system. And so I can almost imagine Anthony Campanile. We've been saying Campanile, but either way, I can only imagine him kind of fighting for, having a voice when it comes to player procurement, because obviously, as of now, the Jags don't have a GM. But as far as that role moving forward,
yeah, I think every coach would like to have all good players, right? That's the ideal. It is such a luxury, though, to have a coach who, even when you high pick, like Jaguars fans know this, just because you pick someone high doesn't mean they're going to turn out to be good. You have to water that flower. You have to give that flower sunlight. You have to put them in a position to grow. And I think that if you look at, there were times in Miami when they had to make chicken salad out of chicken something else, and they were able to do that. And so if you're a coach, what you want to be able to do, the best coaches can simultaneously maximize your best players, the elite talent who come in and they've got a little bit of different attitude, right? They come in, Clay Walker coming from the Georgia program. He's big time program, big time recruit. Edrin Cooper was a superstar at Texas A&M. Come in, they had to get him right with his study habits. And it wasn't that he wasn't working hard; he just wasn't working efficiently and effectively. I'm sure we all know people or maybe experienced this where you work really hard at something, but the information just isn't quite sticking, and there's still mental mistakes. And the Packers were able to find a way to make it all work for him, and then also be able to maximize those backup players, the players who aren't as good. I think something that not every coach is able to do. Some coaches are premium player coaches, where they're only really at their best when they're maximizing the high-end talent. That's harder than you think. And then there are other coaches who just give them anybody, and that's where they're at their best. But they don't manage the high-end talent the same way. And I think in any case, the best coaches are able to do both. And frankly, those coaches are rare.
Peter, when we're talking about, as the Jaguars also hired Liam Cohen, and we talk about that McVay tree that everybody likes to take branches and leaves off of, when we talk about the mixture of with Jeff Hafley and him working under Brian Flores in Miami too, and Packers and Bears very familiar now with Flores because of the time in Minnesota. Do you see similar tones between those two defensive styles, and do you think he'll pluck a little bit of each, or were they similar enough to where you can kind of say, okay, this attack style, blitzing, that type of thing will be able to be brought to Jacksonville?
It's so interesting because Joe Barry, the last Packers defensive coordinator, was also a linebackers coach, and yet they could not have played more disparate styles. And the Packers wanted to play a little bit more static defense, as I mentioned. But you look at Jeff Hafley at Boston College, they were a chaos defense too. And so I do wonder if, when he went out to hire, if that was on his mind. So I think it's hard to watch the Brian Flores defense and not be seduced by it. And maybe that's just the fan in me talking. I think it's a really fun defense to watch. I think it's a really fun defense to play. I think we underrate that when we talk about them. The guys in Miami just did not want to play the Kansas defense. They did not want to play read and react, shell coverage defense. They wanted to play the Brian Flores defense. And so you have to be willing to react to your players too. He strikes me as the kind of personality, though, that is going to say, if his whole thing is you're going to work harder and it's going to be, everyone speaks ass whooping is a universal language. It's hard for me to believe that guy's let's play shell coverage, keep everything in front, rally and tackle. I find that hard to believe, don't you?
Well, so that's the thing, Peter. That's the argument so many of our listeners, who we affectionately call Heeligans, are making on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, is this argument of, that's what we were told Ryan Nielsen would run, that he would run more of an attack-style defense. I mean, the man went out and he bought hats that said attack on it. And then when it actually came time to play on Sundays and pull the trigger and call for a design blitz, he couldn't do it until probably week 14. And so that's where I guess my question is, in terms of your confidence, that for a first-time play caller, you seem to have no doubts. This is a guy who's going to push the red button each and every Sunday.
He strikes me as the kind of coach who believes in what he wants to accomplish, but believes in a vision of purpose to say this is who we are and this is something we have to embody every week. Ryan Nielsen comes from the Dennis Allen tree, but there were times when Dennis Allen was not super blitz happy. They were disguising coverage. I don't know why that word fell out of my brain for a second. They were disguising coverages really well, and they were always doing something. And so I think that, look, I can't speak to why it didn't work out with Ryan Nielsen the way that Jag fans were hoping, but I think the problem is, and the Solid Verbal is a college football podcast, and they talk about this all the time. Every defensive coordinator, when they're hired, every single one always says, well, we're going to bring an attacking style defense here. Everyone says that because no fan, no player wants to hear the coach say, yeah, you know what we're going to do is we're going to try not to get beat. Like our whole goal here is to just like, let's not get beat over the top and let's try and let Trevor Lawrence win the game. Like you're not going to win the press conference talking like that. But what I'm saying is I think this guy lives that. But at the same time, you have to understand that on, 3rd and 10, when you're up 4 late in the game, maybe you don't want to bring the house in a situation like that. Maybe you want to play, a little bit more conservative, or maybe you do. I don't know. We saw Steve Spagnuolo do it. It worked pretty well on 4th down against Josh Allen in the AFC Championship game. So I think in order for any coach to be successful, you have to be adaptable. But you also, I think, have to have something that you believe in at your core on how you think the best way to play is. And then you adapt to your players. Do you have the players to do it? I mean, I think that you're going to see the Jaguars go out and try and get guys who can rush the passer as off-ball linebackers, who can be single gap penetrators up front, and who can win one-on-one. I mean, every defensive coordinator wants that. It has to be more than just Josh Allen. And so pass rush is going to be at a premium here. And I think that even flows from an offensive head coach. And I think Sean McVay understands it intuitively. I think Kyle Shanahan understands this. I think Matt LaFleur understands this. And Mike McDaniel understands this. The biggest way, the easiest way for a team to disrupt flow, watch the Eagles play, is to win with a 4-man rush. And any way you can get pressure is good, but I think you have to have those ball winners, those bucket getters on defense. And so if you can't manufacture it, though, you have to be able to win easily with it. And those guys are hard to find, but luckily for the Jags, they've got some draft picks to work with.
That they do. They just need a guy like Leroy Butler, Peter. On the other side.
My guy. I love Leroy. In fact, my Packers newsletter is named The Leap after, of course, the leap that he created. So, yeah.
Absolutely. He's your guy and he's our guy, too,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact.
He will always be your guy over there.
It was funny, Peter, because we had him on Helmets and Heels a little while ago, and when he came in, I said, hey, and we were just messing with each other, and I was like, yeah, I'm a Bears fan. He's like, I knew something smelled in here.
Yeah, he's a Packers for life. He's a Seminole for life, too, but we'll always be a Packers. Funny, I was walking in New York City probably 8 years ago, and I was crossing the street, and I was going to watch a game, and I was with my now wife. She was my girlfriend at the time, and she had an Aaron Rodgers jersey on. And he saw us from across the street. He was with a lady as well, and he starts booing us as we cross the street. Booing us. He doesn't know me. A complete stranger. Boo! And I was like, a Viking forever, huh? He was like, absolutely. So it never goes away.
Yep, it doesn't. It definitely doesn't. All right, Peter, well, we really appreciate it. I know this will get some Jags fans excited because there's stuff we need to see it on the field. But at the end of the day, when we're hearing what everybody I think was just asking to bring to Jacksonville, this is a good start. So we appreciate you for taking time out of your day.
I appreciate you guys for having me. And unfortunately, now that I'm going to tell you this and you're going to not be able to unsee it, he looks like if Nate Bargatze had a square drop brother who played football.
I thought the same thing. I did think the Nate Bargatze. I'm not going to lie. I actually did think that because I was like, why does this guy look so familiar? So we appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us, Peter.
All right. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You can find him on X at Peter_Bukowski. Again, the co-founder of The Leap and the host of Locked On Packers.
And when we return, we will check in with Aaron Schatz of FTN Fantasy. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
This organization, do you know what it's called?
Its name is
1010XL.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
It's a new year at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine. Cash in this month with thrilling promotions and tournaments, including daily high hands and table games clockwork cash out, giving away $300 cash every 15 minutes and selected weekends at all 3 Best Bet locations. Catch all the excitement in 2025. See all the details and learn the games at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Kick off the new year with a new look for your home. It's the Renewal by Andersen New Year's Sales Event. For a limited time, save 20% on their energy-efficient windows and patio doors, designed to keep your home comfortable all year. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and 0% interest for 12 months. Offer expires January 31st. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. No matter the weather, Triumph has an unbelievable selection of rides where you can get out and just enjoy the highway.
They do. The new Rocket is out with the new color schemes, the Tiger 1200, which has been revamped. These bikes are nice, gorgeous, and ready to ride.
And if you want to take a look at the selection, they can just roll into the showroom and see a full variety.
We've got them all in stock and ready to go.
So if you log on, cyclesofjacksonville.com, search the Triumph line, and then head into the showroom, you'll be impressed. Cycles of Jacksonville.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, what's the matter?
I don't know about this air conditioner, Jason.
You know, my job is actually to...
I mean, 1 minute it's working, and the next minute it's not working. And every time I leave the house, I don't know if I'm coming back to a nice, cool oasis or a steaming cesspool of sweaty garbage fumes and dog farts, and then I'll never get to sleep. And I'll be too late to call someone. And what if I've got a big meeting the next morning and I haven't slept a wink?
Okay, dude. Stay cool. Or at least stay cooler.
But
Bueller Air and Plumbing can figure out why your AC only works sometimes and not all the time. We fix that kind of stuff every day.
You mean you can...
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend all your time worrying about an air conditioner that can totally be fixed, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
The Electric Light Orchestra Experience featuring Evil Woman, the American ELO. A concert celebration featuring the music of Electric Light Orchestra. It's February 5th at Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets at fscjartistseries.org.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Lone Pronto. The Jaguars' new head coach Liam Cohen believes that the success of his team will come from the top down. From the football aspect, Cohen is counting on his coaches and staff to put the best team on the field, but he assures all of Duval that there is a clear vision of the direction this franchise wants to go in, speaking at his first Duval event yesterday.
It starts with the vision, and that's where we're at. We have a clear vision in terms of where we're trying to go, right? The football, we know that we need to take care of that. Offense, defense, special teams, that's what we have to be able to take care of. But if we can have clear, concise communication and everybody be in alignment and trying to go to this level, every day stack blocks, try to get better each and every day, all included, usually good things happen.
Courtesy of Jaguars.com. It's 78 degrees at 101. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Aaron Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
1 o'clock hour is here, and so is our next guest. Always a honor and a privilege to be joined by Aaron Schatz, the father, the creator of DVOA, now with FTN Fantasy. Aaron, thanks so much for hopping on with us.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Good to be here.
We appreciate it. I know in speaking with you and TJ, we were hoping, about 2 weeks ago when we were scheduling out your interview, we'll do a little Super Bowl preview. We'll talk a little the season that was. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars decided to embark on the voyage that has been the last week and a half or so. So, Aaron, let's begin there. In terms of Liam Cohen, in terms of the Bucs' success as an offense last year, you can even go back if you want to bring in some Sean McVay tree numbers, maybe the Los Angeles Rams. I know Liam wasn't the play caller, obviously, in 2022. But what can Jags fans expect in the stats department? What may carry over, even with a different personnel set here in Jacksonville?
Okay, so I went and looked, and Tampa last year actually was not as similar to the Sean McVay offense as you might think. They were only 22nd in using play action and only 15th in using motion, which are both things that are commonly associated with the Rams and the Sean McVay offense. So Cohen's offense may not be an exact copy of what McVay does in L.A. I will say Tampa was much lower than Jacksonville in the average depth of targets. So there were more shorter passes that were meant to get yards after the catch. I think you can see Christian Kirk taking over that Chris Godwin role for Cohen. I also think when you go back into Cohen's career, you can basically write off 2022 season when he worked with the Rams because that was a garbage year with quarterback injuries, and I don't think you learned anything from it.
When you are talking about this new position here in Jacksonville and calling plays and the weapons that you did, you mentioned a role for Christian Kirk. But what about Trevor Lawrence? When you're talking about how he can mesh and what Liam Cohen has kind of done offensively, and I'm sure you can kind of compare maybe some parallels between him and stuff that Baker Mayfield can do also. But what would you say would that Trevor Lawrence led Liam Cohen offense? What would you expect that to look like?
I mean, it should be good. Listen, I don't remember who said it last year, but it was a game early in the season, and they were like, it's a matchup of my two favorite quarterbacks, Josh Allen and the idea of Trevor Lawrence. And that's a really good way to put the way we all see Lawrence. Like, everybody is still hanging on to all the promise that he had coming out of college and all the talent that is there and the belief that he still can be one of the top quarterbacks in the league. And if Liam Cohen can make Baker Mayfield one of the top quarterbacks in the league, he should be able to make Trevor Lawrence one of the top quarterbacks in the league as well, especially when you consider that he also has a fantastic number one receiver in Brian Thomas Jr. to play Mike Evans' role, and a great slot guy, Christian Kirk, to play Chris Godwin's role.
Aaron, I want to tie in the Super Bowl with the Jaguars, and not that the Jaguars are necessarily going to play in it next year by any means, but we always talk about how we want to build this team and the long-term success around teams like the Chiefs or the Lions. Certainly now we can look to the Eagles, like the Bills. I've always said, though, I don't know that you can formulate the Jaguars around the Chiefs because no one has a Patrick Mahomes. But I do think the Jaguars could start to kind of emulate a lot of the things that the Eagles do, and especially that run game. Saquon Barkley is very special, but in general, they're able to run the ball when they want to. How can the Jaguars kind of look to that model of what the Eagles do in the run game?
Offensive line, man. The best teams in the NFL are built starting with the quarterback, but then from the lines out. And that offensive line for the Eagles is fantastic. And I don't think that the offensive lineman that Jacksonville has right now can compare to what they have with the Eagles. But, you know, the best way to build an offensive line is to use your capital on the offensive line. Draft offensive linemen high in the – I mean, you're not going to find a Jordan Mailata, right? The fact that they found this Australian kid and took him in the 7th round and turned him into one of the best left tackles in the league is kind of crazy. But, you know, use a first-round pick. You know, Lane Johnson was a first-round pick. Cam Jurgens, I think, was like a second-round pick. Dickerson was a high pick. Like, use those picks on offensive linemen. Build an offensive line. Listen, I'm not trying to diss Saquon Barkley here. But the running game in general is based more on the offensive line than the running back. And a great offensive line makes the running game go, and then that opens things up for the pass.
And that was music to Jaguars fans' ears over the last few days, in which Liam Cohen, and perhaps by the encouragement of one Don Anthony, Tony Baselli, has consistently continued to say, offensive line, the first priority here in Jacksonville. Aaron Schatz is, look, hey, Aaron's on board too. Aaron Schatz, the Chief Analytics Officer at FTN Fantasy, kind enough to give us some time on this Feel Good Friday. You can find him on X at @Schatz. That's SCHATZ NFL on X or Twitter. Aaron, let's flip it on over to the news of the day. Anthony, and I'm going to make sure I say it correctly because apparently my jersey's been wrong. Anthony Campanile, who, of course, comes from the Packers side of things most recently, but is a descendant of the Brian Flores tree because of his time in Miami, has been named the Jaguars' next defensive coordinator. If you could just kind of give us an overview, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into it, perhaps, what Jeff Hafley brought to Green Bay, especially knowing that Anthony also worked with Jeff Hafley at Boston College as the co-defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know what a position coach does when you look at a scheme, right, how much of Hafley's scheme has anything to do with Campanile? I mean, I can tell you he was the quote-unquote run defense coordinator, and I had the Packers 7th in my DVOA ratings in run defense this year. I had the Dolphins 16th in 2023, but 4th in 2022. So, you know, I didn't go and I didn't look at like blitz rates or rates of playing man or zone coverage because I don't know if that, you know, Campanile is going to do that in the exact way that Hafley did or the exact way that Flores did, or if he's going to kind of do his own thing. And, of course, the best coaches change their scheme based on the talent they have on the team, right? You want to pick a scheme that accentuates the strengths of the talent that you have rather than trying to force the talent that you have into a scheme. I will note that when they hired him, they said that he brings an aggressive mindset that allows the players to play fast and physical, which is what coaches say about every single defensive coordinator who is hired in the NFL. They never say, we brought a guy who's conservative, and we're going to play a bend but don't break defense that's not overly concerned with turnover. Like, no one ever says that. The closest that you ever got to that was the Bill Belichick do your job idea, but nobody ever says they're not going to be aggressive. So it's the same thing as every other defensive coordinator gets hired.
It's funny, Aaron, because the thing last year with Ryan Nielsen was the nothing cheap and nothing deep, and everybody got everything cheap and everything deep on the Jaguars. So we'll see how everything kind of carries over with the new mantra of what's going on. But when you're talking about in general, we have a lot of conversations defensively of the pass rush up front and how much the pass rush helps the linebackers and how much it helps the secondary and all of that. When you are looking through a lot of these numbers, do certain things factor in with that, a pass rush, and how much that may help the secondary?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no question. I mean, Minnesota, right, got really good coverage numbers out of their cornerbacks this year, in part because they were constantly getting pressure on the quarterback. It absolutely makes things easier for the cornerback. So, I mean, I think that's the strength of the Jaguars defense, right? That you have Hines Allen and you have Travon Walker. So you've got strong on the edges. But you also, I mean, you need to have good blitz design because you don't want to always just send 4. You want to be able to send more guys. And I don't know if the Jaguars really have great pass rush from the interior guys. And, you know, you want their cornerbacks to play well, and you want to switch up coverages in such a way that the quarterback doesn't always know what's coming. And again, I don't know what to expect from Campanile in this way. I mean, I can look at the roster and be like, they could probably use this here, and they could probably use this here. But, you know, hopefully what he does is he takes the talent that they have and whoever that they have this year, and he focuses on the strength of those players, which leads with the Jaguars with the edge rushers.
Let's get it to the big game in New Orleans next weekend, the Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the Eagles. As you go through all of the numbers, how do the Eagles defend Patrick Mahomes and all the different things that he can do? And then obviously, how do the Chiefs defend Saquon Barkley?
I mean, I will say that the Chiefs threw a lot of short passes this year. It's a lot. They threw a lot of short stuff that was dependent on yards after the catch. And the Eagles had a really good defense when it came to preventing yards after the catch on short passes. So I think the Chiefs actually want to go a little longer and throw some more intermediate stuff, the 10 to 19 yard type stuff. You know, this is you may have heard a stat that Mahomes is 8-0 against Vic Fangio defenses, which is true, except this is by far the best defense that Fangio has had to go up against Mahomes. And I think that talent of those players matters more than what Mahomes' record is against Vic Fangio's defenses. As far as the other side of the ball, the problem is Hurts is not good when pressured. When he's not pressured, he's fantastic. So it's Spagnuolo's job, the DC, for the Chiefs to get the blitzes that get to Hurts. The Chiefs were actually very good this year at preventing explosive runs. So they have the strength to match the strength of the Eagles when it comes to Saquon Barkley. And it's hard to imagine that Barkley's going to take over this game, given the strength of the Chiefs' defense. I think Hurts is going to have to win this thing. He's going to be the one who's going to have to win it.
Aaron, you live in the world of analytics. You've dissected all the numbers. And so as we wrap with you on the Garber Auto Mall phone line, I have to ask, statistically speaking, have you ever seen anything like the current heater the Chiefs are on when it comes to one-possession ball games? And is there any hope for those who are waiting for some new blood to break through and the Chiefs to not keep somehow, some way winning these games?
No, there's never been anything like this. It's kind of crazy because some of these games are not really one-score games. Like when the Chiefs end the game up by 7, but they have the ball on the other team's 13-yard line or something, right? Like they were about to score more points. They just didn't have to because the game was over. Some of the games are like that, and then some of them are like that Raiders one where the Raiders fumbled the ball when they should have won the game. Like ridiculous that the Chiefs had nothing to do with. There's never been a team that's been like this when it comes to close games. And, you know, I will say when the Chiefs finally lose, they're going to lose a close game. It's going to happen. It might be this one, for all I know. This is not going to go on forever. But we did say when the Chiefs were winning all these close games, this can't possibly continue. Either the Chiefs are going to have to play better, or they're going to start losing. And what happened was they started to play better, and they've been playing their best football for the last month.
And real quick before we let you go, Aaron, because I know you are also an AP All-Pro and MVP voter. We've been having some spirited debates on this program. Not going to ask for who you voted for, but I'm just curious if you could evaluate for us statistically the front runners for MVP, this argument of Saquon Barkley as a running back. Should he be considered to be a part of the argument? Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. Are we splitting hairs? What do you make of those postseason honors?
It is my opinion that as long as they're going to call the award most valuable player and not give us any other clarification, it has to be a quarterback. Those are the most valuable players in the NFL. And I just got done saying, I think Barkley's success this year has a lot more to do with Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata and guys like that than people realize. As far as the quarterbacks go, most advanced stats have Jackson and Allen very neck and neck. I will admit, my stats do not. I have Jackson ahead of Allen this year in my numbers. Jackson had a historically, one of the top 10 quarterback seasons of the last 45 years by my advanced stats. He was absolutely phenomenal this year.
Well, we appreciate the time, and for those of us in the Lamar Jackson camp, that's music to our ears. But nonetheless, what an incredible season it's been. Looking forward to the big game next week, and we appreciate all you do, Aaron, in the world of analytics as the Chief Analytics Officer for FTN Fantasy and keeping us informed on the internet and beyond.
Thank you very much, and I do want to encourage people to check out ftnfantasy.com, not just for all the Super Bowl preview stuff, but we have a ton of good content about other sports. I only do the NFL, but we have tons of picks and discussion of NBA, NHL, even golf and tennis. So check out ftnfantasy.com.
We love that. We got the Players' Championship just around the corner here in Jacksonville, so definitely may have to reach out to some of your colleagues there. And any women's basketball lines? Have we branched out to that just yet? Do we know?
I believe we do women's basketball picks, and Alex Blickel is the guy to talk to about golf. He is an expert.
Love it. Awesome. We will be in touch with him, and we appreciate you, Aaron. Thanks so much for taking some time to join us on this Feel Good Friday.
Thanks for having me on.
Again, you can find him at A Schatz NFL. That's SCHATZ. And, of course, at FTN Fantasy, too.
By the way, speaking of tennis, we never mentioned Madison Keys and the fact that an American actually won the Australian Open, beating Sabalenka, and just how much of a surprise story that was because she beat the number 1 and number 2 seeds in order to win that major. And so shout out to her. We meant to mention that when she won. All right, we've got some more to do on the other side. We've got a Feel Good Friday. You can submit yours on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 904-641-1010. It is 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Wonder what Rick Ballou would be doing if he wasn't on 1010XL?
I like sports. I could do something in sports. Like the general manager of a baseball team.
Rick Ballou.
Well, it doesn't even have to be the general manager. Maybe I could be like an announcer, like a color man.
Evenings on 1010XL.
Happy New Year, taco lovers. Don here from Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach. Football season is wrapping up, but Taco Lou is still cranking out the tacos. If your New Year's resolution is to get back in the gym, remember you can keep the workout going with a taco in each hand or a taco in one hand and a cold Dos Equis or margarita in the other. It's practically my entire exercise regimen. Well, maybe all of it. Anyway, come in, relax, and be ready for a great year. Happy New Year from all of us at Taco Lou.
Yo, E.T. here, and don't let Valentine's Day sneak up on you. Plan the perfect romantic getaway in Clay County. Stay at one of Clay's beautiful Airbnbs or in luxury at Club Continental, a boutique riverfront retreat, and treat your special someone to an unforgettable dinner at the Hilltop Restaurant. Trust me on this one. Clay County is the perfect spot for romance. Start planning today at exploreclay.com and tag those romantic moments with #ExploreClay.
Here for MyBookie. It's finally here. A game so big, we're not even supposed to say the name, where the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Philadelphia Eagles at the Caesars Superdome. Can you guess what game it is? It's the ultimate betting event. If you're not on MyBookie, you are missing out. It goes beyond just picking the winner, folks. We have all the wild props you can think of for this epic showdown. Just check out these odds right now. Currently, -106 and -106 even odds, tails, heads. Which will you pick? You could also pick which head coach will be drenched in the post-game Gatorade and what color that Gatorade will be. The front runner right now, purple at +150 on the money line. Don't worry, the traditional yellow, green, and lime is +225. If you want to get in on the action at MyBookie, be sure to sign up using promo code 1010XL. It'll get you a 50% sign-up bonus to kick things off straight from the jump. That's promo code 1010XL. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast Orthopedic Specialist for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast Orthopedic Specialist take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey. Here in North Florida, you know that when temperatures go up and your AC goes out, you need help now. Like right now. Like lickety-split. So why not call Lickety Split and get same-day emergency service for your AC? Now, I bet you've seen their trucks all over town because they've got dozens of certified technicians ready to repair not only your AC, but your home's plumbing and electrical too. So when you want it done right and you need it done right now, call Lickety Split AC Plumbing and Electric.
The Jacksonville Icemen are back at home this Friday night as they battle the Savannah Ghost Pirates in a big South Division clash in downtown Jacks. Friday is Retro Night as we were winding back to the 1990s with theme music, promotions, and videos. So wear your 90s attire. Game time is set for 7 at Five Star Veterans Memorial Arena. Tickets available on Ticketmaster or by calling 904-602-HUCK. Iceman Hockey is hashtag Frozen Frenzy.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options. Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Ammon, you're always talking about how clean air is healthy air. I've had this cold for weeks. Can cleaning my air ducts actually help?
Well, Dad, I'm not a doctor, and let's be honest, you probably caught that cold from one of your grandkids. But I can tell you this, the cleaner your air, the better you'll feel.
Makes sense, but what do air ducts have to do with it?
Your ducts are like the lungs of your home. If they're full of dust, allergens, and who knows what else, all that junk gets blown into the air you breathe, especially now that the heat's running. And the EPA says improving indoor air quality can reduce health risk.
So you're telling me my vents are working harder than my immune system?
Exactly. That's why Zero Res is here. We're NADCA certified, and our truck mount system is the most powerful in the industry. Right now, we're even offering $100 off your total for January.
All right, sign me up. If it makes me feel better and keeps your mom off my back, I'm all in.
Good call, Dad.
Zero Res.
Spelled border backwards. It's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
Hunters Know Patience is part of the game.
Just got to keep hunting.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Faber, and Captain Kirk Waltz on the Nimnit Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Is your dog Team Rough or Team Fluff? It's officially Puppy Bowl season at Dogtopia Jacksonville Beach Boulevard. They're getting MVPs, Most Valuable Pups, ready for the big game. Your dog deserves a tail-wagging day of fun, and Dogtopia's indoor playrooms are the perfect training ground for their game day moment. Get your dog in on all the action by visiting Dogtopia Jacksonville Beach Boulevard and St. John's Bluff. New to the pack? Enjoy a free day of daycare. Mention Puppy Bowl when booking to claim the offer.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Wow! I feel good.
It's a feel-good Friday.
We're going to have a good time together.
And that would be good. So good.
Text or tweet something that makes you feel good today.
I hear good things. Really good things.
Cheers to the freaking weekend. Drinks it up, yeah. Oh, let the demo song sing. Drinks it up, yeah.
Well, ladies, I'll kick things off on this Feel Good Friday by saying it is 79 degrees outside.
It was snowing a week ago.
Sunny. That's right. They
All you
threatened
had to do was
snow
fire
flurries.
Trent Balky, and we got the sunshine.
Look at how that
Hell
happened.
froze over and it is thawed back out. The sun is shining, my people.
That's right. Also good news, weather related. The rain that's supposed to happen tomorrow is not supposed to happen on Sunday. And the reason that matters is we know a lot of people will be doing, whether it's a 5K, half marathon, or full marathon for the Donna Marathon weekend. Our own Molly McDonald will be doing the half marathon on Sunday. We're doing the brand new Donna Crawl, which is an untimed, Taylor, you'd love this, an untimed 2.7 mile crawl. Basically, you can walk, you can run, you can crawl from Seawalk Pavilion to Pete's Bar, and then we're done. So that'll be a lot of fun.
So what the crawl, do you stop at bars in between?
You just go.
Or houses.
I mean, it's so here's the funny part. It starts at 7:45 Sunday morning. we make our way to Pete's, and we're done. So I guess we'll start our day around 8:15, 8:30 with some drinks.
That sounds great. That sounds like my
That's what I said.
day.
You would love it. I suppose if you know people along the way, and I do, we could stop along the way. It is untimed.
Because I heard crawl and I was thinking of like a pub crawl. So I was like, do we stop and have little drinks in between? I'm not sure I'll make it to the end.
Right. Well, the thing is, because it's so early, I don't know that any other bars will be open. But looking forward to that. If you're not familiar, if you're new to town, the Donna Marathon Weekend started because Donna Deegan, she's, of course, the mayor now, but back in the day, she was a news anchor and she was diagnosed with cancer 3 different times, thankfully beat it all 3 times. But I know a lot of us have known people who have not been able to beat breast cancer as much as they have battled. And so we do this in honor of them. And we had to do something to support not just the people going through it now, but the people that we've loved and lost that have been through it as well. So that'll be Sunday morning, and at least it'll be nice weather. I see highs in like the upper 60s, so it won't be too hot for those marathon runners, perfect. And maybe a little cloudy, which is nice as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, from the year that I ran it, and it was probably 50, 40s, like at the start of the race in the morning, and it never really got above 65. I know my mom and my sister flew into town, and they're like, why do we come here? It's not even like beach weather. But for those of you running, it's probably best.
Yeah, you want to keep it somewhere in that 50s. I think, honestly, if you're asking the half marathoners and the marathoners, they'd probably like that. For those of us that are not trying to go very fast, I appreciate it a little bit warmer.
Yeah, I do. I will do my feel good. I almost said feel good Sunday because I was thinking about Sunday. My feel good Friday is, and I was just talking to you guys about this off air, but my friend Kat, I've talked about that on here. She passed away about 1.5 years ago, and so she's a triplet. It was their birthday on Wednesday, so we celebrated the 3 of their birthdays still, but Kat's no longer with us, and so it was like a birthday party / remembrance for Kat / fundraiser, because she's very big in the community when it came to helping underprivileged kids. She would tutor, she would mentor, do all of this sort of stuff. So
I love that.
They had a bunch of different stuff set up there, like with earrings and clothing and all of that. The proceeds went over to help several foundations that she liked around Jacksonville. So it's really cool to see stuff like that, because unfortunate events and tragedies bring on something that can carry on her name, number one, but also help the community, because she was Duval till she died. She was, and like you at the event, I posted a picture on Twitter, and it was all jagged out, and it was fantastic. There was a big Jaguars head. She had her signed jersey that said Cat Daddy, with a bunch of players that had all signed it and stuff like that. So it's just really cool to see that people's legacy live on past them too.
Yeah, I think that's really sweet, and it is important to take something awful and try to turn it into something brighter.
Love it. My Feel Good Friday, which of course you can submit yours, 904-641-1010. We'd love to hear from you guys on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures or the MyBookie Digital Studio. I see tons of you guys interacting there. Some of you are begging for me to tell you who the next Jaguars general manager is. I don't know. I don't know what I'm hiding from you. I've been very vocal here and on Duval Rundown. I've told you what I've been hearing, but I don't know who the next GM is. So maybe you want to leave a Feel Good Friday instead. So leave a comment, leave a chat. We'd appreciate hearing from you guys. My Feel Good Friday is this is the last weekend that I have of just sheer normalcy, not normalcy, of sheer nothingness. How about that? The Jaguars coaching search certainly continues, but next week I know I've got 4 games over at UNF and JU. The next week we're on vacation. The next week we have friends coming into town. The next week we have more friends, family coming into town. The next week my brother's coming into town. And so looking forward to just kind of decompressing a little bit this weekend and kind of getting back to equilibrium, because this is the ultimate round of applause, RJ. At least by my energy level today, I think I have avoided the plague for now, knock on wood, the sickness that's going around. That yesterday I looked at Taylor Dahl and I said, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I said, I think it's coming. But I think a good night's sleep has cured that. So if we could keep the good vibes going on that front, that would be most appreciated. And we have a ton of really exciting events coming up across the station in the month of February, and that has me feeling really good as well.
Another feel good is Brian Thomas Jr. Head over to the Jaguars social media channels right now, because it's all the BTJ at the Pro Bowl games. But there's one video they posted of him signing the Manning kids' helmets, and that's so cute. But yeah, if you want more BTJ content, head over to the Jaguars channels, because right now there's a ton of it flying in, and we love him. So
it's funny the age ranges of their children, because you've got Arch in college, and then you've got these kids who look like they might be 5 or 6. So those cousins are definitely spread out. One other thing when it comes to Feel Good Friday, like you mentioned, the Pro Bowl games, I enjoyed the quarterback competition last night.
Yeah. I was going to ask, what did you guys watch last night?
We watched Passing the Test, so that was the quarterback competition that started things. We watched Satisfying Catches.
We watched the
Was that the big hands one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was part of the Satisfying Catches. Yeah, they
that was
started with
that was
the
funny.
one-handed catch, and then they had to put on the mascot hands, and then they did the diving leap catch, which no one was able to catch the ball, so I think that they structured that incorrectly. But the big spike was ridiculously stupid. I did not care about that one. The helmet harmony was also dumb. Did not care about that. Didn't watch a second of the relay race, and the only reason I tuned in to dodgeball was because there were Jaguars in it.
Yeah, we had that on TV3 for like maybe 5 minutes. I'm not going to lie. We had the Shrine game on. I was just curious to see if any names would pop. It's really tough in that setting to, be able to follow, which credit to Bucky Brooks and the whole team that calls that game each year, to follow all those storylines of those players. Yes, you've just watched them in practice, but still, it's really hard. And then you couple that with what has been hilarious, a side story, I find it hilarious, is these bowl game wars that are going on right now between, do you go to the Senior Bowl? Do you go to the East-West Shrine Bowl? For those who are unfamiliar, previously, about, 20 some odd years ago, and Leon can speak to this because he played in the East-West Shrine game. Traditionally, you would play in that All-Star Showcase, and then that would open up the door for you to qualify for the Senior Bowl. Now, Leon, I think he said it the other day, he was East-West Shrine because he preferred the format. Well, we're back to that now because the Sanders family of Dion and Shiloh, that turned into quite the scene over the last few days because Shador Sanders is not playing in the Senior Bowl. He's playing in the East-West Shrine game, A, because it's in Dallas, where, of course, he matriculated and grew up, and B, because he didn't actually have to participate, but he could still do interviews. And it's
not actually playing.
Correct. And that's it's going to be a fascinating next few years with these showcase games in terms of, do players actually want to play? There's certainly players who practiced in Mobile and Dallas this past week who made themselves money and moved up draft boards. And
Grace Abel, we're looking at you.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But on the flip side of that, you have guys who say, I want to preserve, much like those who've opted out of bowl games in the past, I want to preserve my health and my current draft status, so I'm not going to practice. And so therefore that makes you ineligible for the Senior Bowl, but maybe it wouldn't for the Shrine Bowl, according to current instructions.
From my vantage point, the Senior Bowl is getting a lot more attention than the Shrine Bowl is. And as far as what the NFL is paying attention to, at least is what it seems like to me, whether it's NFL Network, NFL.com, they seem to be focusing more on the Senior Bowl as far as the prospects are concerned. And maybe it is because of the format differentiation. But either way, if you are interested in how prospects will do at the next level, I think it is a great thing to watch the game tomorrow. They focus more on the practices, certainly, than they do the game. But it is something fun to watch, especially since this is the first weekend without pro or college football since September.
Yeah.
Late August, September.
I know. And and I think that when we're talking about the Senior Bowl, a lot of times when we go back, once you start drafting guys, you'll start hearing names being dropped because, like, oh, they had a really good Senior Bowl. That's a phrase you hear a lot, and I think we'll continue to do that. I personally have watched my favorite thing is to just watch the trenches guys during this, all of the practice you see of that, because you do see certain players where you're like, man, like you already had an idea, or the ones where you're not sure if they're going to play guard or tackle. It's a good place to kind of start getting the idea of that.
And that's where, to Lauren's point, Gray Zabel, the North Dakota State offensive lineman, because that's what I'm going to call him. I mean,
do all of it.
He played tackle for the Bison. There was a notion coming in, like so many tackles, especially those who play at the FCS or the D3 level that make it to the Senior Bowl that are, elected to go, or selected to go, I should say. They have to move inside to guard. But then you've got him, where he held his own at tackle against much more formidable competition than what he faced at the FCS level. Oh, and by the way, he also decided to take snaps at center. And now there are some scouts who are projecting that he will be a center at the next level. It's fascinating.
Versatility is good for him.
Yes. Right. I mean, look at Graham Barton last year. Look at what he did for Liam Cohen. So I'm just saying, Gray's able to Jacksonville. Point being, I think that, yes, the trenches are a lot of fun. I think it's really interesting between both the Shrine game and the Senior Bowl, and we'll see what happens tomorrow when the lights come on in the game itself. We didn't have what I predicted for months. I specifically predicted that it would be Xavier Restrepo of Miami.
Yeah.
We didn't have a wide receiver emerge as like, oh my God, look at this guy.
Yeah.
Last year we had 3 at the Senior Bowl alone, and Ricky Pearsall, Lad McConkey, and Roman Wilson, who were putting on an absolute clinic in terms of their route running, one-on-one against the DB. I didn't see any of that this year.
Well, they've said that wide receivers, the class is not as good. That the guys that are at the top for this year wouldn't have been anywhere near the top, obviously, last year. And so that doesn't surprise me. You're going to see more of, I think, the tight ends star in this, and that's what we have seen. And then, I mean, the good news, though, for the Jags specifically is the defensive tackles and edge guys have gotten a lot of praise.
Yes.
But is that because they're going up against offensive linemen that aren't quite as talented? Like, that's where, we won't know until we get more into the draft prep and all things like that. All right, we've got one segment to go here on Helmets and Heels on a Feel Good Friday on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
We're connected by a common bond.
We're all lemons. We look like everybody else, but what makes us different is our defect.
We're obsessed with sports.
You're absolutely right.
1010XL.
It don't get no better than this.
Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both? With everyday deals at Sonny's. Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmaster since '68.
Why buy from Hodges Mazda at the Avenues? Because they strive to ensure a satisfying and comfortable car buying experience. And now they're giving back. Lauren Brooks here. Hodges Mazda wants to say thank you to all educators, first responders, and healthcare providers by offering a complimentary oil change and car wash. Simply call them today or schedule online at HodgesMazda.com. This is all part of the Hodges Mazda difference. Come experience it for yourself at HodgesMazda.com. Free oil change not to exceed $79.99, excludes diesel vehicles. This offer expires today, January 31st, 2025. See dealer for complete details.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Listen up, Ospreys. UNF Homecoming Week is just around the corner. You don't want to miss the festivities, especially the Birds of Trade, as the UNF men's basketball team hosts Bellarmine Thursday, February 6th, and FGCU Saturday, February 8th at UNF Arena, tipping off at 5. Show off your pride and reconnect with your alma mater. Thursday, February 6th at 8, and Saturday, February 8th at 5. Visit UNFOspreys.com/buy tickets now to secure your seats.
Swoop! Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
Start the new year with a fresh look for your home. It's the Renewal by Andersen New Year's sales event. For a limited time, save 20% off on our energy-efficient windows and patio doors designed to keep your home comfortable year-round and your energy bills down. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation. But hurry, the special New Year's offer won't last. License number CGC 1527613.
I'm Hacker, and I'll get you more Gator Chomps during the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. New episodes drop every Friday. Get Gator Bites where you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. The big game is almost here, and it's now or never. Time to play and win with PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 10 million active members. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch your winnings roll in. It's just that simple. And now PrizePicks is giving you a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. That's right, 1,000 times just for playing. If you know the game, you run the game. PrizePicks just keeps making it easier to play and win, including the flex play, where you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. That's right. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit and cash out as quickly as 15 minutes. Now, here's the best part. PrizePicks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy. That means your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. Download the PrizePicks app today and use promo code JAX, J-A-X, and get $50 instantly when you play 5. It's all there, PrizePicks. Run your game.
Ready, aim, inspire at the 7th Annual Mackenzie Noel Wilson Foundation Clay Shoot, Thursday, February 20th at Jack's Clay Target Sports. Hi, I'm Paul Martinez, president of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida. We've got you covered. Ammo, carts, clays, delicious food, and amazing prizes. Whether you're a sharpshooter or just in it for fun, this event is for you. Support the important work of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida and Mackenzie's Camp Deep Pond. Sign up at bgcnf.org/events.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 87.
Okay, let's all practice. Let's all say it together. 1, 2, 3. Campanile. There we go. Round of applause. Well done.
I trusted the New Jersey. I texted ET earlier today. I was like, it's Campanile.
Yeah, Campanile was just how like my brain went to because that's like what I just remember. Like Campa and then everything else I guess got blocked out. I haven't lived in New Jersey in 12 years. So, you know,
I saw a couple YouTube videos and the people were saying Campanile and I was like, I don't know. So I was going to ask Peter anyways because I was like, walk us through this to make sure.
Yeah, by the way, feel free to put that pronunciation in something so that way we all know because we pride ourselves on pronouncing things.
Exactly. I think we're gonna need to clip that trend.
I feel like we do need to do every time we say that the like
for that would be Campanile. I feel like because that's I feel like the more old school Italian.
Campanile.
But either way, yes, Liam Cohen landed his defensive coordinator, and Mia, from the 2 different people we've talked to, especially Peter Bukowski, who worked around him the last season and what he did with the Packers defense, he seems like it's funny, bright young defensive mind. Whereas if you were talking about a football player at age 42, he would be so old, having played 19 and 20 seasons. But when it comes to the coaching world, 42 is still young.
I mean, let's be real. We're going to get this full segment hopefully up on our 1010XL Jaguars channel for y'all. I already texted Trent, and I was like, we need to get it up there because Peter Bukowski went out on a limb and said that he was the best candidate available, not named Robert Saleh, this defense coordinator cycle. And if the Niners had not brought Saleh back to the Bay Area, this is who they were going to go get. And that's, and I trust Peter in his sourcing, and that is a bold statement. And if it is true, if it proves true on Sundays, that is a massive get for Liam Cohen. And it brings me to this, RJ Saunders. I need everyone to imagine here for a second, not so much a fictitious situation. In fact, it actually was reality in the year 2017.
Imagine with Closets by Design.
Imagine your home totally organized.
Folks, the hay is in the barn. The closet has been installed. Go check out the wonderful installation, the wonderful job that Closets by Design Jacksonville did on my home closet. You could check out their social channels on Instagram and TikTok, Twitter as well. I'll be sure to post some videos too. Don't y'all worry. So back in 2017, a first-time head coach was hired on the heels of Trent Baalke being ousted. I think you all know what organization I am referring to. The head coach was hired prior to the general manager being hired. That is one parallel between your Jacksonville Jaguars and the San Francisco 49ers. But I want you to also imagine this for a second, folks. I'm going to run through the names. Some of them you may know, some you may not. On the San Francisco 49ers coaching staff in 2017. John Embry was the assistant head coach, tight ends coach, was about, I think, like 48, something like that at the time. Mike McDaniel was the run game specialist, no OC because Kyle Shanahan called plays. Rich Scangarello, a longtime Shanahan family guy, ditto to Bobby Turner, the quarterbacks and running backs coach respectively. Bobby Turner is, I believe, now 75, but at the time would have been in his 60s. Pass game specialist, Mike LaFleur. Offensive line, John Benton. Assistant offensive line coach, Adam Stenovich. Now the offensive line coach with the Green Bay Packers. On the defensive side of the ball, a first-time DC. A well-thought-of linebackers coach with the Jacksonville Jaguars, but not exactly someone who everyone thought would be a slam-dunk hire as a defensive coordinator in one Robert Saleh. Jeff Zagonia, I think I butchered his name as well, the defensive line coach. Going to butcher the assistant defensive line coach's name too, so I won't even go there. Jeff Hafley, that's a name we've mentioned a time or two on this program today, was the defensive backs coach. Johnny Holland, the linebackers coach. Jason Tarver, senior assistant. Tem Lukabu, defensive quality control coach. D'Amico Ryans, defensive quality control coach. Bobby Slowick, defensive quality control coach. And finally, special teams coordinator Richard Hightower, a name that Taylor is familiar with the Chicago Bears. Taylor, would you consider Richard Hightower, especially 9 years ago, would you consider him a quote-unquote old head?
9 years ago?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So I just ran through all those names for you folks. And imagine this. Kyle Shanahan was given the reins of a historic franchise in the San Francisco 49ers. And while, yes, Kyle Shanahan had been an OC in Atlanta, Cleveland, and Houston, he was just 38 years old. And there were plenty of people questioning, why is he bouncing around? He's really only an OC for a year in each locale. Isn't that kind of weird? And imagine this. Unlike Sean McVay, who at 30 years old did have to attach his name to Wade Phillips, a veteran name, certainly a former head coach and a former DC, Kyle Shanahan did not. Worked out okay for him. Did it not?
Definitely did.
And so that's where I say to you, Jaguar fans, who I've seen plenty of you on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. I've seen you on X. I've seen you on Instagram. The concerns in our comments on our social channels about why can't they go out and get an old head to pair with Liam Cohen. Like we said yesterday, you could go out and get Ron Rivera, but is Ron Rivera, his energy, his core values, will that match Liam Cohen's? I don't know. Are you going to force that marriage solely so you have an older guy in the room? That doesn't sound like good business to me.
And nobody's forcing it because there's no GM in place.
Yeah.
So Liam right now has all the say outside of one Shad Khan as well.
Yeah, I will say, too, I think that, and I mentioned this when everything was kind of happening, when we were finding out that Liam Cohen looked like he was going to be coming to Jacksonville. And I think I said I'm going to be cautiously optimistic because I feel like I've talked myself into so many positive things the last few years. Every time I'm like, oh, they fixed this and they got this person, and you get ahead of yourself. I'm not going to let myself do that this time because I need to see it on the football field before I start completely hyping up everything that's going on. I just feel like it's happened too many times here. But the only thing you can do right now is get to know these people and their history and what they've been able to do at their stops. And so that's why I think we like to do that. We like to talk to all these people, and people are like, why are you talking to somebody from Kentucky about Liam Cohen? Because that is a massive part of who he is, where he's learned from, the offenses and things he's been able to do. When we talk about Peter Bukowski, he's in Green Bay, it's only 1 year, and I'm sure we honestly will talk to some more people at some other stops about what he was able to do with those defenses and the different position rankings that he's had. But that's all we can do right now because you don't know what it's going to look like here in Jacksonville. We're still building a staff. You have no general manager. There's still a lot of holes you've got to fix between free agency and the draft. So all you can do is get to know these people and what they have done leading up to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's say hello to Matt Hayes.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
Matt, before we get to Anthony Campanile, want to see, is your day tomorrow like my day tomorrow? Noon, Florida tips off number 5 at number 8, Tennessee. And then 2:30 Senior Bowl. Is that the exact
I was gonna
Saturday?
say, if your day is like my day tomorrow, you're gonna be very happy because I've had a long week.
I feel that. That was my Feel Good Friday. My
I'm
Feel
just
Good Friday is
on the
nothing.
couch.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what I mean. Will you be watching Florida men's basketball and then the Senior Bowl?
If I wake up, yeah.
If you wake up,
Yeah.
the Florida game's not till noon.
I gotta be honest with you. I'm gonna be just veg with my dog next to me, and I'm very happy.
Well, I'll be like that, but I'll be awake at
Not
I don't
doing
know
a damn
7,
thing.
and then I'll be watching.
That's not normal.
Basketball, but I don't have gymnastics to watch tonight.
That's
It's
true.
not until Sunday.
Okay.
So that's
It starts up now then.
It's been going on for quite a while now, but
All right.
it's okay. You don't have to pay attention to that. All right, Anthony Campanile.
I do pay attention to your excitement about it. Though.
Why,
I do.
thank you.
Every year I do.
Thank you. Yes, we had an excellent meet last week. I'll have you know. So yeah, the new defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile. What are your thoughts?
He fits right in with everybody else that's been in DC here. All first timers. Think about it. The last dude, the dude before him, Joe Cohen, Todd Wash, all first timers. All first timers. What was the common denominator between all those first timers?
They failed.
No good.
There's the spirit.
So,
After I just imagined that, hey, we may have the next Robert Saleh on our hands because the Niners apparently were going to get this guy.
But why didn't you get Robert Saleh? That's kind of my whole thing. Why didn't you go get
Because Robert
Patrick
Saleh
Graham?
said, I feel offended that you didn't hire me as your head coach, and I was
I
spurred a
understand
second
that.
time.
I understand. I just threw a ton of money at him for a one-shot
I
deal.
agree. I thought that that's what they were going to do, but I think ultimately his pride blocked it, and that's
Plus,
okay.
Look at the Niners' defensive roster. Like, if you're Saleh, wouldn't you rather go to work with those guys than what the Jags have?
Of course.
Yes, because then once you have success, you will once again hopefully get a head
Right,
coaching
but
position.
if you're solid, you go there, you're going to pay all those crazy taxes. Number one, you could earn a lot more money here. You just overpay him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you got nowhere to go but up. You're at the floor. There, you're all the way up top.
Yeah.
You got nowhere to go but down.
I'm with you, Matt. Like, I said that to multiple league sources who talked to Robert, and knowing that the tax structure was certainly something that was thought about by old Bob.
Well, you're also on the floor. Like, you're
and
literally
that
on
too,
the floor
and
here.
that too. If you take the 32nd best defense and you just make them top 15, you look like a miracle worker.
You look like a genius.
He also just had the taxes in New York, so I don't know how much somebody like that who's already used to it is really thinking about it.
Shout out Bergen
They're worse
County.
in California.
He has, what,
I
7 kids, right? Saleh?
7.
6 or 7? Yeah, he
Yeah,
has a lot of
7 kids.
But I guess if you're making $4 or $5 million,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right, what's coming up, Matt?
We're going to talk about Campanile.
Okay, excellent.
was good.
You're going
I'm
to be
proud
very
of you.
excited about it. As a matter of fact, I can
pretty
tell.
good, right?
Well, here's the thing. Like, you should. I thought, like, I kept saying Campanile, not just because that's just how my brain, like, thought for whatever reason, but also because his brother is Nunzio, who I feel like has been the interim at Syracuse like 6 times.
Right.
And that was Campanile.
His whole tree is full of coaches, full family tree.
Yep.
So, yeah, we'll talk about that. We got 2 former NFL players with us, not only Leon, but Cleo Lemon also.
Oh, let's go.
And our coach, Dave Campa. We're getting after it today.
Loaded.
I am literally just going to be traffic cop today.
All right, thanks, Matt. We appreciate
All right,
it.
thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you on Monday, but of course, don't go anywhere. XL Primetime is next.
Walk all over you. Yeah.
Now you can watch 1010XL